NASA has picked SpaceX as the carrier to land its astronauts in space. But why? With quite a few companies with the technology to execute space missions bidding for the contract, why did Elon Musk's company win the bid? In this video, we will explain some of the possible reasons behind NASA's decision to pick SpaceX. We will also explain why SpaceX is regarded as a trailblazer when it comes to space mission technology. Recently, NASA announced that the SpaceX Starship had been selected to land humans on the Moon under the agency's Artemis Program. The project has long been in the pipeline as the agency prepares to take its astronauts to the Moon once again after many years since the last mission. To develop the project, NASA announced that it will pay the tune of $2.9 billion to SpaceX for the development of the Starship over the next few years. The figure given by NASA may not cover the entire cost of building the ship, but SpaceX plans to cover whatever outstanding cost may come up. The report released to the media is that the Starship will fly to the lunar surface without a manned crew one time in an experimental flight before it flies the astronauts to the Moon. NASA's officials believe that the voyage may likely take place in 2024, but for now, the agency is still in the process of conducting a comprehensive review of its Artemis program. NASA chose SpaceX because it believes that the company's flagship carrier, Starship, has the capacity to make its moon voyage a successful one. Choosing Starship from among other candidates was done for several reasons, one of which was key. The Starship is a vessel specially built for voyages to Mars, but with the capacity to make moon voyages as well. By investing in Starship, the agency is providing SpaceX with the cash injection to fund its completion. Of all the ships reviewed by NASA, Elon Musk's vessel proved to be the one that was mostly capable. Two companies made the final list to provide NASA with crew and cargo transportation services. Picking two companies was a strategic move, though. The idea was to preserve competition and to control cost. But after much deliberation, it appears that the decision-makers have decided to place all their bets on SpaceX, which is a very risky move. A move that is backed by SpaceX's success. Over the last 20, SpaceX has transformed from a small startup into a premier aerospace company. So much so that its technology has become an industry benchmark for Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic to follow. SpaceX has delivered on past NASA contracts, so it is not surprising to see the agency pitching its tent with SpaceX once again. SpaceX has previously handled the transportation of astronauts and cargo to the International Space Station on behalf of NASA without fail, so decision-makers probably had more confidence in the company than any other company. If Starship eventually succeeds in the upcoming moon mission, that will be another feather to SpaceX's hat. Moreover, it will be yet another vindication of the ever-successful public-private partnership between NASA and SpaceX. SpaceX will see its profile increase as the world's #1 aerospace company because it will break new grounds that its rivals have not even attempted once. Conducting more flights to space will make SpaceX more experienced in the area of space travel. In NASA's case, the agency will land another set of astronauts on the Moon at a fraction of a cost, far below what is spent on previous voyages when it used its own technology. Furthermore, a successful moon landing will grant SpaceX independent access to a lunar surface, something that was previously for the exclusive preserve of nations, not private firms. And lastly, a successful moon voyage will take both entities a step closer to Mars. In the first section of the video, we explain the partnership between NASA and SpaceX, and we explain why the agency picked SpaceX for such an important voyage. In this second part, we want to explain in detail NASA's Artemis program and what it is set to achieve. The last time humans traveled beyond orbit far away from Earth was during the Apollo program, which came to an end in 1972. However, the agency has been trying to make the journey again since 2004 under former President George W. Bush, who announced the agency's Back to Moon Constellation program. Then, in 2010, the Obama administration cancelled the program, but two things survived: the rocket that was being designed for the voyage and the Orion capsule and its crew, both now metamorphosed into the Space Launch System. These vehicles are now under development using a cost-cutting investment model in which NASA pays the development cost. NASA's Artemis program will use the Space Launch System to take astronauts to the Moon aboard the Orion ship, where they will use a lunar lander to travel. The plan for the future is to have Orion dock with a small space station called Gateway. From this station, astronauts will be able to conduct exploration activities. NASA has also come up with a different approach. Rather than build a stationary lander like it did with the Space Launch System or Orion, NASA has opted to pay private companies to build their own landers owned by them. The agency will then pay these companies to use the landers. Furthermore, the cost paid to the firms is fixed, so any overriding cost will be covered by the firms, not NASA. In addition, if the companies are able to build the landers at a lesser price, the contract stipulates that they are free to keep the difference as profit. This model was the one used to successfully transport astronauts to the International Space Station. The US government is highly involved in the project, with government officials pushing for a moon landing by 2024 at the latest. The public-private partnership has been further extended beyond low Earth orbit, and new commercial lunar payload programs have been created. Under the new arrangement like the one it entered with SpaceX, private firms will handle transport missions. Last year, some of the beneficiaries of the new program were Dynetics, SpaceX, and Blue Origin. These firms offered payload services to the NASA Artemis program. Consequently, NASA has made a commitment to spend up to $21 billion to support multiple landing programs over the next 5 years. However, despite the support of the White House for the program, the US Congress only provided about $850 million for lunar landing projects, which is far below the $3.4 billion the agency demanded. The massive shortfall delayed its selection process when evaluating companies that would receive funding for developing moon landers. In picking SpaceX as its sole lander, the decision-makers at NASA had no choice. The agency would have preferred to have a few contractors handle the project, but fund limitations made this impossible. To avoid delaying the project even further, they had to settle for the cheapest and most efficient option. And SpaceX happens to be the company that is most likely to succeed. But how will SpaceX land humans on the Moon? SpaceX will use its Starship to land humans on the Moon. The ship is designed to provide astronauts with end-to-end transportation from Earth to Mars and back. Starship launches and lands in an upright position in the same way the Falcon 9 boosters return to Earth. Engineers have been working on the Starship for years, with several prototypes made and destroyed until a perfect version was found. Despite its upright launch and landing capabilities, NASA plans to use the ship differently by blasting the ship to lunar orbit without the crew, then dock with the ship in space or transfer it to a gateway. With cost being a major factor, NASA appears to have found a private firm that can provide landing services at a cheaper rate. All the parties involved will be hoping that things go according to plan, because if they don't, it will be a major disaster. By 2024, NASA hopes to land its astronauts on the Moon, and if this works, Mars will be the next planet to conquer. Elon Musk has always had a dream of establishing life on the Red Planet. Partnering with NASA brings him a step closer to achieving just that. With that, we will bring this video to an end. If you enjoyed watching this, please consider subscribing to our channel. Leaving a like on the video and your comments also go a long way in showing your support. Till then, take care.